Welcome to this series on navigating APB dashboards. This particular video is on functionality, and the goal is to orient you to common functionality used when navigating our dashboards. Today, we're going to be looking at the enrollment dashboard as an example. And first, we want to go over filters and splits. So what is a filter? A filter will show you data for an attribute you select only. So only first-gen students will show in your chart or graph. Whereas a split shows you data by all attributes in a category, like first gen and non-first gen, often more easy to compare. You don't need to use all filters or all splits when you're using a dashboard, just the ones that help you answer your question. So let's look at a filter, and let's look at first gen. And as you can see, for fall quarter, we're getting only first gen data here. And a couple things to note about filters, they come in many forms. There are single select filters, so duplicated is an example of that. You can only choose one with the radial button. Ethnicity definition is another example. And show quarters is another example in a drop-down menu. You can only choose one of these. There's also multiple select. So student level is an example of that, undergraduate, graduate, interns, and residents. We can choose any combination of these. Can choose multiple of the items there. And academic years is another example where we could choose it from the drop-down menu, multiple items from the list of dates. There's one type of filter that does not appear on this particular dashboard, and that is the slider, and that will help you to limit dates or numbers that you're looking at on a particular dashboard. So that's filters. Now let's talk about splits. And I'm going to go back up to the top left-hand corner and I'm going to reset my view. That can be handy sometimes when you're playing around with a dashboard. If we're going through and doing a split, let's do first gen. Let's do admit status, transfer freshman entrance, and let's do URM. We encourage you to hover over the data. You can find out more, especially if there's not a legend available. This is a great way to find out exactly what's going on in your data. And we may want to unclick graduate and interns and residents because first gen and transfer status in this data is particular to undergraduate students. And it also cleans up our chart a little bit more, or our graph. So we've split the data here, and as you can see, we get first gen freshman, entrance, non-URM, first gen freshman, URM, and every combination of the splits that we've put into the dashboard show up in the graph. Now, when you do something like this, or even if you use a filter, you may want to download the data, and you can do that by going up to the top right-hand corner and choosing this download icon and choosing crosstab. And you can choose what feature you want to download. And we recommend that you download a CSV file because Excel formats it and it may be harder to analyze the data if you download an Excel file. Click download and you'll have your enrollment table for fall downloaded in CSV format that you can open in Excel. I also wanted to show you saving a view. So let's go back up to our handy reset view button on the left. Let's imagine we sit in a particular department, which most of us do. And we want to create a view that is just of that department. Let's say anthropology. Because every time we come to this dashboard, we know that most likely we're going to want to look at our students in our department. And so we want to save a custom view. We can do that at the top. And we call it something. Hopefully we spell it correctly. And we can make this our default view so that every time we come here, we're just looking at anthropology students. We encourage you not to make it visible to others, as this makes it visible to everybody on campus who has access to the dashboard. However, if you want to share it with somebody else, like somebody else in your department or a dean, then you would need to check this button. So you can click Save. And as you can see now at the top, we're looking at just anthro students. We can verify that by looking at the filter for department. And this is just the anthro department data now. If we want to go back and we want to just look at the original, we can click on View Anthro and click on Original. And we can also delete views, edit the names, pin them, all sorts of things. So that is saving a view. As the last point, we want to make sure that you're aware of these question marks, which appear in most of our dashboards. You might find one at the top, for instance, that shows you how to interact with the dashboard and gives you some pointers on how to do that. There are others that are about definitions and how things are defined in the data set, and these are quite useful, especially in choosing, which one you want to go with. And sometimes there are also methodological tips or information in the question marks as well about what methodology we use to analyze the data or to come up with the data set that we came up with for the dashboard. So those are question marks, and definitely hover over those to get more information. This has been our video on dashboard functionality, and we hope you found it helpful.